There's the fan hub. Bearing went out in it. Broke the fan and the fan shroud. Idler pulley, and the belts. That's C-12 KW 2003 Kenworth. Let's go ahead and take it off. Got them four bolts on that bracket right there. Got to remove those, and I'll remove the fan. That'll remove the fan hub, and probably go ahead and try to remove the fan first off the hub. Maybe I may just remove it all as one assembly. I'll go ahead. I'm gonna take this boot loose. The boot on the other side, the duct work over there, and I may have to loosen up these mounting rods here for the radiator. Give me a little bit of slack on that. So I unbolted these bars here, these mounting bolts, and broke loose the bottom bushing mounts on the bottom of the radiator so I could push it forward and get me some slack. And took the boots loose on the hose and the hose loose so I could give you some, you can push the radiator forward and give you enough room to get the fan and the hub out. And to take this hose loose and that hose there, and plus I pressurized it up to make sure I didn't have any leaks, because the fan got into the radiator a little bit, but it's held up good. It ain't got no leaks. And now I'm going to take the fan loose. It's got these bolts on the front. I'm going to take them loose, pull the fan out, and then pull the fan hub off. And right over here, I took that idler pulley off because I got to replace it. I got the fan hub out. Here's the new one. Here's the old one. I compared them. Make sure I got the right part. And here's the bearing went out in it. Pieces of it anyway. Comes mounted, bearing mounted on the bracket there. Right there. There's the belt mangled up. So it got into the radiator a little bit, but still good. So I'm going to take this bracket here off. Done 4 bolts. And unhook that air line right there on the bottom. And that'll come off, and then I'll mount my new one on, bolt it up, put the air line back on it, put my new idler pulley in right here. I had to take this whole bracket here loose, so I took these 4 bolts up here, 2 here, 2 up here, and 1 here, and then these 2 here. Take this whole bracket off to get these bolts right here on the back out. And I'll take this out, set it out here on the table, and be able to break this bracket loose, because you can't take this bracket here off until this one's removed. Whenever you take this bracket off and you remove this bolt and this bolt here, they'll have a spacer on them just like this, and they slide out. You don't have to remove both of them. You can loosen this side up and up to where you can pull it out. Just remove this one. And these two down here, so these are slotted, so you can just back them off and up, pull this out like that. There it is. And now I'll be able to take them loose from my fan hub. Alright, now that I got it over here on the table, there's the bracket. We'll take this, flip it over. We'll take these 4 bolts here loose. And we'll mount our fan hub to it. Now I got the 4 bolts loose. Set this one off. So it's clean. The first thing you want to do before you mount your new fan hub onto this bracket, you want to go ahead and put your fitting in. Mine broke. See here, so I got to get a new one, but it's plumbed up into this 1/8 inch pipe or 1/4 inch pipe, whatever, but it screws onto here and then goes into here. But you want to go ahead and have this right here plumbed in and sticking straight out to the passenger side. So all you gotta do is hook up your hose to this, because you're not gonna be able to do anything once you get this fan hub mounted onto this bracket, because you ain't got but a 1/2 inch of space. So I'm gonna, and this right here was plugged off, by the way, so I had to clean it out. But I gotta get a new fitting here, and I'll screw it in, and then screw my 90 on, and then I'll have to break this apart and then screw this in separately, because I'm not going to be able to not even going to be able to get a turn, you know what I mean? So I'll go ahead and plumb all that up first, and then mount my fan hub onto the bracket, and then it'll be ready to go. But I gotta get a new piece, a new fitting adapter. So I got my new fittings plumbed in, and now I can mount my fan hub to the bracket here. Just sit it on, see what I mean? How much space you had. So I'm gonna go ahead and mount this fan hub onto the bracket, and then I'll put it back on the truck, and then put my hose back in. Alright, now that I got it mounted to the bracket, see the fitting here, and now I'll bring it over here, and I left these 2 nuts on, so I'll come over and just set it, because it's got notches on the bottom for these 2 bolts, and then set it over on top of them, and then I'll go ahead and screw this bolt in here, because there's a notch for this one also. Alright, so I got that bolt, and spacer already screwed in, and you know I left it loose also, obviously. So then I'll set that fan hub on these 2 studs, and then it'll go slide in right here on this, and that way you ain't gotta fumble with it, hold it up there and try to line it up, and then try to line your bolts up. So I went ahead and put my fan shroud in, and then set my fan in, and then I went ahead and put my fan hub, got it set in here. I want to tighten everything up, and then hook up my air hose, and then put everything back together. Yeah, so now I got the fan hooked up on it. Now all I gotta do is put the fan belts back on it, air pressure belt, and then hook up my hoses and everything, straight put top of my radiator back down, and she's good to go. And that's all there is to it. Pretty simple. I put me a protective hose around that hose down there. The air hose for the fan clutch. Right there. Because it was rubbing the bracket. So watch out for that. That hose is bad about rubbing.